Hello and welcome. My name is Tom,
And I am Dan.
and we're here from King's Auto Repair, and we found out that we need to bring a little bit of education into everyone's world with some automotive stuff. We run a regular radio show and podcast, and some of our most downloaded episodes are how things work. So we decided we wanted to bring a video series out on basically how things on cars work. So I got Dan here, who is our lead master technician, as made evident by his patch right there.
I swear we totally didn't frame it for that. It's not advertising at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
So today we thought we would bring an interesting little piece that does a whole lot with your car, and basically I'm going to ask Dan a whole bunch of questions about it, and we're going to have him answer a bunch of stuff, and hopefully you learn a little bit from this.
You are always welcome to comment with either questions on what we do or don't do here. Right now we're rating our scrap bin for stuff. Feel free to make suggestions. We know what most of this stuff is, and we just want to help you guys learn. The better you learn, the better educated you can be when you fix your car. We all know what it's like to sit there in the doctor's office and they tell you your blah 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 label is this or that or that or that.
You mean a high cholesterol number isn't like a winning score?
No.
Oh,
No.
oh, I thought I was winning.
Yeah. No, I'm not that old yet, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, when you hit that magic age, they come after you.
Yeah, when the number starts with a 4, I'm not there yet.
Ooh, I'm not that high, but
Anyway,
but we're not talking about that today.
no. So what are we starting with here?
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Dan, an ABS module. What is it, and what does ABS stand for?
Okay, so in most basic terms, ABS is A, anti-lock, B, braking, S, system, ABS. Basically, it means when you stab your brake pedal and, that squirrel runs out in front of you or whatnot, or the guy not paying attention cuts you off, you don't lock up and slide into said squirrel or said guy not paying attention. It's in its most basic form is actually a relatively simple system. It's looking at how fast your car's going at all 4 of your wheels through what are called the wheel speed sensors, and as well as they're looking at speeds out of the transmission to calculate how fast the car is going. If it sees a wheel suddenly stop, it knows that wheel is then locked up and starts pulsing your brakes. So if you ever panic stopped and you get that coming back at you, that's this little boy right here working. This is the ABS module. It's actually kind of like 2 pieces in one. We took this apart the other day, and I was joking around saying this is the thinking part, and this is the doing part. So that's its most basic function in kind of a Cliff Notes version.
Does it do like anything else? Because I've heard them called like anti-skid modules or like a traction control module.
Yes, depending on your manufacturer, it's everything from Honda will call it a VSA module, Vehicle Stability Assist. I believe Ford calls it an HCU, Hydraulic Control Unit. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the Ford guy, not me.
Yeah. I didn't know what the Honda version said. I just saw it said, what, a VSA?
Yeah, VSA.
I had no clue what that stood for.
Porsche calls it PSM, Porsche Stability Management, because you can do a lot more. This little box here, come up to the focal point, this little box here actually does a lot of your, not only anti-lock braking, but your traction control, if you have a truck, a lot of times they will tell you you have a rear locker or a lock diff, and really what they're doing is they're playing games with this thing to act like the back of your truck has a locked rear differential. So you can do a lot when you can individually control each wheel. So it's a lot more than that, especially nowadays.
Okay. Well, could you show us a little bit of how this works and take it apart and show us like what's actually on the inside?
Yeah. Okay. So before we take it apart, again, like I said before, we have the thinking part over here, we have the doing part here. Most basic, this ovalish shaped hole right here, that's the connector. So this is where all the information comes in and out of this unit. It's talking to the rest of the car over multiple networks, as well as getting power and ground and all that other stuff. So it all comes into this, and then we have the actual processors here. Again, this is looking at all four of your wheel speeds, your engine speed, ambient temperature, a billion other things, and it decides what it wants to do. In some vehicles, and I'm assuming this would do this too, because this is off a 2009 Prius, actually our loaner car, we had to replace this on. It can actually, if it even thinks you're getting into an accident, it can pump up your brake pressure to help you stop even quicker, which is a really nice function. That's where I know modern Subarus and a few other manufacturers, they have what's called a hill hold, or especially if you have a stick shift, you let off the brake and you go to get on, or you go to let the clutch out, and it'll actually hold you there for a second, so you don't slide back into the guy behind you. Anyway, so like we said, that's the thinking part. Through here, and this might be tough to see on camera, is down here you'll see all these little pins here, in here, that kind of look like teeth sticking up, and those are the connectors down to what we're going to call the doing part. So we're going to take this apart. This is where actually the two units start doing different things. So when the computer end of it decides it needs to do something, it turns on these little coils of wire in there, and what that is doing is moving these pistons.
Are the pistons these pieces?
Yep, all these little stick-up jobbies right here, and that actually can, in some cases, pump up pressure, release pressure, or modulate pressure. Again, that's that brrr when you step. It's this piston moving in and out very quickly, and what that's doing is, when we have the gasket to the other side, is pulsing fluid in and out of these different holes. Some of these holes are, we'll call them intakes, and some of them are the output to the actual wheels themselves. So if you have an instance where it's cold, let's say it's a cold black ice kind of day here, like we get in eastern Pennsylvania, you got to stop in a hurry, you hit the brakes, this thing sees a skid. Let's say you lock up your left front tire because there's a little puddle there, and let's say these two are for the left front wheel. They're going to turn on and off in rapid succession, acting upon these valves to increase and decrease pressure to that wheel to keep it from locking and sliding. It'll kind of, and pulse to help you come to a controlled stop instead of sliding into your neighbor's mailbox.
So it releases pressure, but
Yes.
then applies pressure again.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a two-way street basically, up and down.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a very neat little unit. And
Boy.
again, with modern cars and programming, you can do a whole lot more. This is just the gasket for the go-between. This
Yeah.
goes to actually the actual ABS unit, or the master cylinder unit itself. Again, this is off a Toyota Prius, and a Prius is a little different animal than everybody else. This is also, I know it doesn't look like it for those who know what they're looking at, but this is also the master cylinder on a Prius. We did try to take it apart. It doesn't look like it wants to come apart.
Yeah, we're gonna have another one in a couple of days. We're waiting for one to come in, and we're actually gonna take that one apart.
Yep. So basically, this hooks to your brake pedal. You press here. Hopefully, I don't spray brake fluid everywhere. But
Well, when you push
do you get
that,
anything out of any of those?
no. So here, how about I hold it, and you talk about how it
Okay.
actually works.
So you're going to press on. If you pressed on your brake pedal, careful, it does shoot sometimes. So pressurized fluid is going to come into here, and then it's going to go into, or through this gasket, into this setup, into this
Block.
into this block. And from there, as the car decides it needs or doesn't need pressure, these will move up and down. And then they will go out into one of these holes, which goes out to the fittings here on the front. It does sound a bit of a Rube Goldberg machine, but it actually works really well. This technology has been around since I mean, practically speaking, since the
The
late
80s?
80s.
The 80s.
And it's been federally mandated for years now. This is a system that wants to be clean. This is a system, I mean, we're talking, these are finely machined pieces here. We're going through holes that we're measuring down to the thousandth of an inch, which is like...
So, if the system fails, what are the symptoms of like a bad ABS module?
Most of the time, this unit is good enough to figure out on its own that it is failing. Not 100% of the time, but this is so monitored closely now for safety and a bunch of other regulations that most of the time you will actually find the light on more than anything else. This unit that we showed you, we took apart, is actually off our 2009 Toyota Prius loaner car. And the only way we knew it was bad is it just turned a light on and it said it was leaking internally. To the day we took this unit off the car, we never had to add brake fluid. We never saw a leak. It stopped just as it should. I mean, just as hard as the day it was new. So they're monitoring it that closely, again, for safety concerns.
So, like, it said it was leaking. Would it be like maybe leaking between the valves or something, or they were maybe looking at something like that?
Yes, I'm pretty sure when I read down through the diagnostics, they actually said it was bypassing internally. So most likely in the block in here, so somewhere between here, or should we say somewhere between one of these holes where the fluid comes in and one of these holes where the fluid comes out, it didn't like what it saw. It knew it was leaking internally, so it said no more. You got to get me off the car. And again, no external symptoms. You could bring this car to a good hard straight stop, just like you could the day the car was new.
Wow, that's really cool. So, I hope you liked our presentation here. If you have any questions about how they work, or you want to see us take apart more stuff, because I mean, we like taking apart stuff that we don't have to put back together.
It's nice. It's a little therapeutic.
Makes life easy. So leave us a comment and we'll see you later.